Since her birth, Eva, one of the last living human beings on the planet, has been raised by a robot called Moore, who takes care of the girl as if she were her real mother. Despite being free to roam around the underground shelter, Eva is forbidden to access the door that leads to the Earth's surface, and her curiosity to discover what lies on the other side grows more and more. Even though she is a robot, Moore treats the girl with great affection and manages to simulate human emotions perfectly. Thanks to that machine, Eva has a happy and loving childhood. But every now and then, she feels lonely and wonders when she'll have friends. Whenever this question comes up, Moore tries to reassure her and says that her daughter will have friends as soon as she moves to the surface. Until that day comes, Eva has to make do with the friendship of her teddy bear and sleeps every night cuddled up to him. On her 6th birthday, the girl gets a cake prepared by her mother. After blowing out the candle, she opens her present. Eva is excited when she discovers the functionality of the Omnipod and makes her first request to her new personal assistant. Ever since she was a child, she's wanted to find out what's on the other side of that door. But Oni says that Eva won't be able to leave Sanctuary 573 until she passes the final test. At this point, the girl discovers that there is a test, and Moore decides to introduce her to Cadmus Pride. Believing she's seeing a human for the first time, Eva tries to hug him, but soon discovers that the man is just a hologram. Frustrated, the young girl asks when she will be able to play with other children, and Cadmus says that it will be soon. He then explains why the girl has to live down there, and tells her that the Earth is no longer a safe place, because the Earth has become very sick. While nature recovers, hundreds of children are growing up in sanctuaries around the planet, and will soon have the chance to return to the surface. In the following years, Eva must prepare for her final exam to prove she can survive on the surface. Migo, a hologram of her teddy bear, will be part of this mission. In the company of several other stuffed animals, he introduces all the topics that Eva will have to learn before leaving the sanctuary. As part of the group of people who will rebuild the Earth, the young woman needs to learn how to plant, take care of her health, and become an expert in technology and science, among many other important lessons for the perpetuation of the human species. After learning all this, Eva will take the final exam. If she passes, she will gain her longed-for freedom. Exactly one day after her 6th birthday, the young girl begins her training in the simulation room and proves to be a true prodigy in practically every area of knowledge. 10 years later, Eva has become a great survival expert, and Moore says she is proud of her daughter. When her 16th birthday arrives, the young woman is very anxious because she knows that the final exam is approaching. If everything goes according to plan, Eva will realize her biggest dream the next day. If not, she will have to continue training and wait another year to retake the test. That night, before going to sleep, the teenager discovers a secret passage and manages to hack the system to open the door. Upon entering the abandoned hall, Eva finds 6 plaques with the name of each person and discovers that there were other young people staying in that sanctuary. Immediately, the girl runs through the corridors and manages to find other houses like hers, but all of them are empty. In one of the shelters, the gate that leads to the surface is open, and Eva finds a photo of a happy family in a forest full of trees. Just below the picture is the name of the place, but the paper is torn, so the only clue Eva can gather are the initials that formed a word, Wandla. Looking at the back of the sheet, the young woman finds a note and discovers that there is someone on the surface waiting to be found by her. Through a small gap, Eva spots an aircraft flying overhead and uses a light signal to attract its attention. After spotting her, the aircraft disappears, and soon afterward, a huge creature appears. Before she could discern whether it was a human or a monster, the young woman is attacked and runs back to the shelter. When she gets there, Eva tells her mother what happened, but the conversation is interrupted when an alien creature invades the sanctuary. When she realizes that her daughter is in danger, Moore flees with her and activates the security protocol to deal with the intruder. They immediately run for the gate that leads to the surface, but the monster approaches, and Moore attacks it in an attempt to buy time for Eva to escape. While gathering supplies so that the teenager can flee, the robot reveals that there are 6 human children in each sanctuary, and Eva was the only one who grew up alone. Terrified, the young girl begs her mother to go with her, but Moore says she can't leave the sanctuary and orders her daughter to escape through the ventilation ducts. Soon after leaving the shelter, Eva spots a new monster and has to distract it in order to escape. During her escape, the young woman comes across a cliff and ends up falling while trying to hide from the approaching aircraft. Luckily, her fall is cushioned by a giant flower, and when she wakes up, Eva is faced with the world completely different from what humans have already cataloged, including the insects, which are dozens of times larger and more dangerous than normal. She climbs a tree in search of a signal to try to establish contact with other humans through Omni. The problem is that there are no longer any active sanctuaries nearby, and Eva can't locate her mother. While walking through the forest, Eva is captured by a carnivorous plant, but ends up being saved by Rowie, a seemingly harmless humanoid alien. In an attempt to gather information about the whereabouts of other humans, Eva tries to communicate with the Wanderer, but they both end up being chased by a four-armed monster that uses a supersonic weapon to attack them. After capturing its victims, the monster ties them upside down and waits for the right moment to eliminate them. When she sees the enemy feeding, Eva uses a laser pen to free herself, but the object ends up being stolen by a giant spider. So the young woman tries to take the dagger from her backpack to untie Rowie, and realizes that the alien is the same one who invaded the sanctuary and has taken Moore prisoner. At that moment, Eva decides to free another animal that has been captured by the beast. While the predator tries to take it back, the girl frees Rowie and drags her mother's body onto the aircraft. However, since the young woman doesn't know how to fly the vehicle, everyone ends up having an accident, and the ship falls on top of the beast. Eva quickly steals the monster's weapon and attacks it. In this way, she manages to buy time to escape. Suddenly, Otto, the creature she freed, returns to pay his debt and gives the pair a lift home. Seeing its prey trying to escape, the beast decides to go after them and cuts down countless trees in the forest in an attempt to block the way. However, when cornered, Otto decides to jump off the cliff and uses the membranes hidden between his legs to glide above the clouds. During the tour, Eva is impressed when she comes across a school of flying fish and discovers that they are not a threat. When she lands in the forest, the young woman thanks Otto for not leaving her behind and discovers that the animal is able to communicate by telepathy. The girl's next mission is to find out how to reactivate her robot mother's operating system and convince Rowie to help her find other humans. However, the Wanderer doesn't want to get involved in any more trouble and refuses to help. Suddenly, Moo wakes up and attacks Rowie to protect her daughter, as she believes Eva is in danger. After her mother throws the alien away, the young woman manages to reassure her that Rowie is her friend. In an attempt to convince him to be her guide to Lakis, Eva offers Omni as payment and assures him that the device will be worth a fortune. After making a deal with the Wanderer, the young girl asks her mother why she grew up alone, as each sanctuary is supposed to have 6 children. Moo then explains that she created 8 generations of human babies before Eva, but when the 9th generation arrived, the sanctuary suffered external contamination and only the girl survived. After discovering the truth about her past, Eva decides to share with her mother the new information she has gathered during her time away from the shelter. On the way to Lakis, Eva hears a call for help and follows the sound until she finds a baby sand sniper. However, Rowie advises the young woman to stay away from that insect because if its mother shows up, everyone will be in danger. When she sees the little animal caught in Dastile's trap, Eva decides to ignore her friend's advice and tries to free the baby. Just then, a balloon begins to form, and the baby sand sniper is taken up into the sky where it ends up being captured by Bastille. Seeing the enemy approaching, the group hides, but when the alien moves away, Eva says she will go after it. However, her wandering friend manages to dissuade her from this idea, as Eva knows she won't be able to stop that monster on her own. Knowing that Eva and her mother are being hunted by Bastille, Rowie asks them to keep a low profile, and so the pair must disguise themselves before entering Lakis. While Eva and the rest of the team head to the local market, Otto takes the opportunity to go for a swim. The first merchant to introduce himself to the new visitors is Karunle, who claims to be an antiques dealer. Upon meeting him, Eva asks where the seal belonging to an ancient human dynasty came from, but Karun asked for 300 konnel as payment for the information. When he discovers that the young woman has no money, the shopkeeper kicks her out of his store, so Eva asks how she can get all those coins. At that moment, she discovers that a race is taking place and decides to bet her robot mother in an attempt to get the amount of konnel she needs. Of all the competitors, Eva chooses Donna Crostina as her winner, but the old fish starts the race in last place. When she realizes that her competitor won't be able to complete the race on her own due to a vision problem, Eva decides to guide her by means of telepathy. Thanks to her help, Christina manages to overtake Lorak and win the race.
After getting the money she needs, Eva gives it to Rowie and sets off in search of a shelter for the night. With the help of the Wanderer, mother and daughter find accommodation and meet a couple of Rowie's friends. Despite appearing to be a lonely wanderer, Rowie is much loved by the people who welcome him as a member of their family. After dinner, the children accompany Eva to the guest room, and the young girl discovers that next door lives a wise old woman who theoretically knows everything about humans. That night, while the little ones are asleep, Eva decides to pay Darius a visit and climbs a large tree trunk to get to her house. Upon meeting her, Eva reveals the reason for her visit and asks what happened to the planet before it was inhabited by aliens. Before giving her answer, Darius asks for a memory as payment, and the young woman puts her happiest memory into the jar, her 6th birthday. So far, nothing has made Eva as happy as the day she found out she could leave the sanctuary and join other human beings. After receiving payment, the old woman reveals that she arrived on Orbona, the name the aliens gave to Earth, when the planet had already been destroyed by humans and felt the pain of all those who lived before her. When she visits Eva's memory, Darius discovers that there are other human beings still alive, and she is furious because she knows that they were to blame for the destruction of Orbona. She immediately orders the young woman to leave, and Eva ends up falling out of the treehouse. Luckily, she manages to break her fall on the way and ends up in a lake. Seeing his friend drowning, Otto dives in to help her and brings her back to the surface. After the revelation, Eva goes to meet Rowie and discovers that the Wanderer has spent half his money in a bar. The alien then states that he has only taken his share and refuses to continue accompanying the human on her journey. At dawn, Eva pays another visit to Karun, and when the merchant discovers that he is facing a human, he agrees to exchange information with her. The alien then reveals that he found that stamp in the city of Solas, the capital of Orbona, where Zin, the greatest antique collector, lives. After providing this information, Karun lures Eva into a trap and says that Bastille will soon arrive to collect her. After freeing herself, the young woman activates the balloon attached to the trap to try to escape, but the monster manages to capture her. At that moment, Eva attacks him and takes control of the aircraft in order to land safely. While Bastille tries to regain control of the vehicle, the young woman hides and runs to her host's house to find her mother. However, when she discovers that her daughter has almost been captured, Mu tries to convince her to stay hidden in the shelter. But Eva is determined to go to Solas. Tired of having to hide, the young woman decides to confront the hunter because she wants to hitch a ride with him to get to the capital. After a few hours, Eva arrives at Queen Acho's palace, and Bastille introduces her to the royal family's advisors. Seeing a human for the first time, Zin reveals that he is eager to study her, and then the queen appears. In order to protect Her Majesty, the guards escort the girl out of the Great Hall, and Eva waits for an opportunity to attack Zin, as he intends to dissect her body. After knocking him out, the girl manages to free herself from the handcuffs and runs into the garden while the guards search the castle. While trying to hide, Eva spots the queen talking to the statue of her late father and manages to convince her to lose the guards. When the giants move away, Eva asks Acho to help her find the other omnipod that Zin has in his collection. After taking possession of the royal scepter, the queen manages to open the vault where her father kept all the artifacts of human origin. According to Lorak, one of the queen's advisors, King Acho was infected by those objects and ended up going mad. However, Eva knows this isn't true and starts rummaging through the pile of boxes looking for the omnipod, believing that the device will reveal the location of other humans. During the expedition, one of the royal guards approaches, and the queen is very happy to see him, as Chip was her father's most trusted guard. According to Otto, Chip is not like the other guards, as he is the fairest and most trustworthy of them all.
During the search for the omnipod, Eva and the queen find an arcade and discover together how the device works. To help the girl find her people, the queen gives her a car equipped with alien technology. Just then, Zin and Lorak find them and order the guards to capture Eva. Seeing her new friend being taken away, the queen tries to stop them, but her advisors ignore her. While strapped to a stretcher, Eva discovers that the omnipod she was looking for has been in Zin's possession all this time. Not satisfied with just one device, the alien steals the girl's personal assistant, and Eva realizes that the baby mantis is also trapped in the lab. At this point, she manages to make contact with the animal and enlists its help to defeat Zin and escape. When she is chased by the guards, the girl runs straight to the vault but ends up being captured. Suddenly, Chip appears to save her and holds off the other guards so that Eva has a chance to escape. Just then, Ojo appears aboard the flying car and gives the young woman a lift. With the Queen's help, Eva recovers the Omnipods, and through the device she gets the coordinates of their original owner. After transferring all the data to her device, Eva hands the second Omni to the Queen and says she will contact her soon. Aboard her new flying vehicle, the young woman follows the coordinates to try to find the human city and discovers that her mother is nearby. Immediately, Omni recalculates his route to meet Moo and Otto, who have gone to the capital to look for Eva. Together, they continue on their way in search of other humans and come across Rowie along the way. The Wanderer knew Eva was coming and waited for her on the bridge leading to the human city. The problem is that the bridge is falling apart, and just below is a pit of sulfuric acid, capable of dissolving almost any type of material. In order to make a safer journey, the trio decide to follow Rowie's instructions, but soon discover that parts of the bridge have fallen into the river. So Eva asks all her friends to get in the car and uses a metal beam as support to get to the other side. After accelerating the vehicle, the young woman manages to cross but ends up crashing into a rock. The convertible is destroyed during the accident, Otto is injured, and the car falls into the acid pit. When she realizes that she has put her friends in danger, Eva feels guilty and starts to cry. At that moment, Rowie approaches and encourages her not to give up. So the young woman has the idea of gliding to the city with Otto's help. To do this, the team needs to climb really high, and with the help of Rowie, Moo, and Otto, they manage to get to safety. Now that the danger is behind them, all they have to do is glide to the city and everyone can land safely. Looking at the landscape, Eva realizes that it is very similar to the photo she found in the sanctuary and believes she has arrived in Wand. Walking through the city, the young woman and her friends are impressed by the grandeur of the place, which is bigger than the capital. At that moment, Omni manages to detect a signal and the group follows Eva toward the other frequencies emitted by Omnipods. In this way, they find the last human sanctuary that remains active, and Eva begins to call out to them.
However, when she enters the shelter, she comes across dozens of human graves and discovers that everyone who lived there has perished. When she hears the message recorded by the last survivor shortly before his death, Eva discovers that everything she has been conditioned to believe is a big lie. Next to the body, the young woman finds a book and realizes that the image she found in her sanctuary has been removed from there. After putting the two parts together, Eva discovers that WLA is actually just a fairy tale described in a fantasy book. Frustrated to learn that everything she had believed her whole life was not true, the girl leaves to spend some time alone. But soon, she realizes that Bastille has found her. Determined to protect her family, Eva goes to meet the alien and drops a huge outdoor sign on it. After destroying the enemy's aircraft, the young woman lures him away to keep her family safe and manages to escape from the monster. However, during her escape, she ends up being hit by a vehicle and is about to be captured when her friends hit Bastille with a bus. Even so, the creature manages to survive, and Rowie orders Eva to flee while he and the others try to stop the alien. However, Bastille manages to trap the trio in an energy bubble, and Eva realizes that the only way to save her family is to eliminate that monster. To put her plan into practice, the young woman lures him into the library and manages to steal her adversary's gun. After hitting the four-armed man with a blast of sound, Eva destroys part of the wall in order to bury him and crawls out of the building. At this point, Bastille gets up and continues to pursue his prey. Then, just as Eva is about to be eliminated, Moo uses her own body to block the attack and sacrifices herself to protect her daughter. Even after losing his weapon, the alien is still obsessed with the girl, so Eva uses her powers of telepathy to ask for help. Suddenly, the baby sand sniper appears and calls its siblings to attack Bastille. Soon after, the mother of the babies appears and drags the monster to its underground hideout. After saving her friend, the baby leaves, and Eva has the chance to exchange her last words with her mother. Despite being a robot, Mu didn't sacrifice herself just to follow her programming. She truly loves her daughter and chose to protect her, even though it would cost her life. After saying goodbye to her mother, Ava hears an aircraft approaching, and to her surprise, Kadam, Miss Pride, appears, claiming to be there to take the girl home. Season 2 of Wandla begins exactly where the first season left off, at a pivotal emotional moment for Ava, the last known human girl who had lived her entire life underground, isolated from the world above. After a long, dangerous, and deeply emotional journey across a mysterious and beautifully alien world, Ava finally finds what she has been searching for her entire life: another human being. The episode opens with a breathtaking moment. A human figure named Cadmus suddenly appears before Ava, his presence calm and commanding. He speaks kindly, promising her a new beginning in a place called New Attica, a shining city where her future supposedly awaits. But something about the scene feels wrong. Ava's intuition kicks in, and she quickly realizes that Cadmus isn't really there. He's just a hologram projected from a ship hovering above. Then the unexpected happens. A human boy steps off the ship. For a moment, Ava freezes. Is this another illusion, another trick? She reaches out, her heart pounding, and touches him. He's real, solid, alive. She screams in delight. This is the first time she has ever touched another real human being. But her alien companions, Rander, the wise and cautious humanoid, and Otto, the telepathic creature, remain guarded. Rander especially doesn't trust the sudden appearance of strangers and suggests they should tie the boy up by his feet. The boy is understandably confused and surprised that Ava can speak the alien language. To calm the tension, Ava introduces him as Haley. Just then, another figure steps out from the ship, an older man.
He introduces himself as Vampa, and he's amazed that she has survived the untamed wilderness for so long. Eva doesn't hesitate. She runs up and hugs him, her emotions spilling over. He is only the second real human she has ever seen. Vampa explains that this moment marks only the beginning
of Ava's true journey. He invites Ava to board the ship bound for New Attica and tells her she doesn't have to go alone. Otto and Rander are welcome too. Despite the unease still lingering in their minds, the alien companions reluctantly agree. For Ava, it's a dream come true. As they take flight, the world below unfolds like a painting. The ship soars across magnificent mountain ranges. And then, in the distance, they see it. New Attica, a sprawling, futuristic city gleaming under the sun like a beacon of hope. Once the ship lands, Haley and Vampa tell Ava they have other matters to attend to and disappear into the city. The moment is bittersweet. Ava stands at the threshold of the city, struck by its beauty and scale. But when a floating gondola arrives to take her deeper into the city, she turns to Otto and Rander, expecting them to come along. To her heartbreak, they refuse. They tell her this is her path now. Her journey is with her people. They do not belong in New Attica. Ava's face crumbles. She hugs them both tightly, fighting tears. The gondola doors close, and she watches them disappear into the distance. Inside the gondola, she's greeted by a quirky and enthusiastic toy robot named Miko, who acts as her virtual tour guide. Miko eagerly shares New Attica's history, explaining that the city was founded by Cadmus and is home to over 2 million humans. Ava's mind reels at the number. Until now, she believes she was the last of her kind. When the gondola docks, Cadmus greets her again, this time in person. His presence is warm, reassuring, even charismatic. He praises Ava for her survival on the surface and promises that all her questions will soon be answered. Cadmus introduces Ava to his twin daughters, Jen and Nova, and asks them to show her around. The girls are full of life, friendly, and excited to welcome Ava into their world. They waste no time taking her on a whirlwind tour of New Attica. The first stop is the Infinity Zoo, where holographic animals roam. Then the Imaginarium Aquarium, where imagination shapes the aquatic life on display. They attend a session of zero-gravity yoga and finally play a wild, futuristic game called Kaboom Chess. Ava is amazed at every turn. At one point, Jen shows off her wardrobe that changes color based on her emotions. Ava is fascinated and tries on a new outfit herself.
The moment she puts on her chosen dress, it turns yellow, signaling hunger. Laughing, the girls take her to a restaurant and introduce her to a dish called pels. Ava, unaware of the etiquette, eats it straight away, only to be laughed at gently, since you're supposed to spray it before eating. Embarrassed but good-natured, Ava joins in the laughter. Later, a group of curious kids surrounds her, bombarding her with questions about her life outside the valley. The attention is overwhelming. She quietly asks Jen and Nova if there's a more peaceful place they can go. They bring her to what looks like a serene forest. Ava instantly relaxes. This reminds her of home. But the peace is shattered when a massive spider-like creature attacks. Nova draws a blaster and fires at it, revealing that the forest is actually part of a virtual reality game. Ava hesitates, but joins in. The game involves shooting creatures and boarding a retrieval ship before time runs out. Ava plays along, but feels uneasy about pretending to harm animals, even fake ones. Afterward, she pretends to have enjoyed the game and asks for some alone time. In her room, she receives a call from Cadmus. He asks if she's enjoyed New Attica. Ava lies, saying she loves it. Cadmus then directs her to her new sleeping quarters. There, a robot stands in the room, one that looks exactly like Mother, the robotic caretaker who raised her. Overcome with emotion, Ava runs to hug it, but is crushed when the robot responds with cold indifference. It isn't Mother, just a look-alike. That night, Ava hears something outside her window. She peers into the shadows and sees a mysterious figure who looks just like her, but older. When Ava calls out, the figure vanishes. The next morning, Cadmus summons her for a meeting with his scientists. But as Ava makes her way through the city, she spots the mysterious girl again. Without hesitation, she follows her, through alleyways, past fountains, and into a waterfall. On the other side is a hidden sanctuary, a place untouched by the illusion of New Attica. The people inside are startled. They don't know who Ava is. But the girl steps forward and vouches for her. She introduces herself as Ava 8. They were both born in the same underground sanctuary. That's why they look alike. They're essentially twins from different generations. Inside the sanctuary, Ava meets others like her. There's Violet, a calm and intelligent botanist, Kai, a tech prodigy, and Xander, the brave and defiant heart of their group. These people chose to live outside of New Attica. They explain that while the city offers comfort, it's an illusion crafted by Cadmus to control and manipulate the population. In the sanctuary, they live free. During dinner, a drone from Cadmus appears, reminding Ava that she's late for her meeting. Ava 8 decides to accompany her, saying she doesn't trust Cadmus, and she's right to be cautious. At the lab, Cadmus talks proudly to his scientists. But something feels wrong. Then, in her head, Ava hears a voice. It's Otto and Reinder. They're alive, but trapped. Cadmus has imprisoned them. Panicked, but composed, Ava pretends that Ava 8 is sick and needs help. They make an excuse to leave. Once safe, Ava 8 reveals that she may know where the aliens are being held, in a secret maze of underground tunnels. Violet gives them a map. The two sneak into Cadmus's lab through a back entrance. There, Ava finds Otto inside a containment tube. She tries to release him, but Ava 8 is locked outside the chamber. Otto communicates telepathically. Cadmus tortured them. Reinder is in even worse shape. When Ava asks how she can help, Reinder's voice is faint but clear. Take me home, to Fauna. Suddenly, a robot enters. Ava hides just in time as the machine begins transferring the captured aliens, including Otto and Reinder, into another secure facility. Ava, desperate to know more, quietly follows. She slips into a shadowed corner and listens as Cadmus begins a private board meeting. And in that moment, Ava finally begins to understand the horrifying truth.
Her dream city is not what it seems. Here, Cadmus reveals the truth. New Attica will run out of food within a month. When that happens, millions will die. The colony survives by harnessing energy from the Earth's core through a massive thermal vent. This system powers vertical farms and keeps their biome running.
But now, the biome is failing, infected by an unknown pathogen. Cadmus tells the board not to panic. He unveils his plan. First, he's built an army of robotic enforcers called the Authoritans, designed to suppress civil unrest. But his primary solution lies far beyond mere control. He believes he's found the key to restoring New Attica's vitality. To prove it, Cadmus presents something extraordinary, an alien prisoner. Through studying the alien and its people, he's discovered they utilize a mysterious and powerful energy source, one capable of creating life, new species, and growth beyond comprehension. Cadmus theorizes that this energy, if harnessed, can heal New Attica, renew the failing biodome, and provide endless prosperity. Until now, the location of the source had eluded him, but that's changed. He has found someone who can lead him to it, a living compass. A human with the ability to communicate telepathically with the alien life force. That someone is Eva. Eva becomes shocked to hear this. Cadmus reveals he's known all along that she's been spying on him. When confronted, she refuses to help. Desperate to protect her friend Reinder, she rushes to find him, only to discover him unconscious. Cadmus admits to torturing Reinder to extract vital information, claiming it was necessary for the greater good. With what he learned from Reinder and Eva's powers, Cadmus is certain he can find the source. Furious, Eva fights back. She knocks Cadmus aside and makes a daring escape, freeing Otto and Reinder. But they're almost immediately caught, until Eva 8 appears. She's been planning this breakout all along and has brought a gondola for their escape. But Cadmus is relentless. He sends his robotic forces, the batteries, after them through the city's underground tunnels. Their only hope lies in reaching the tunnel to Fortown, the last path out of New Attica. As they near the tunnel, one of the batteries gives chase. Eva 8 battles the machine with a steel bar, but it splits in two and keeps coming. She barely escapes with Eva, and they regroup with Vampa and Haley. Eva pleads for help. Reinder is dying, and only the alien forest of fauna holds the medicine that can save him. But there's a problem. Cadmus has sealed the exit gate. Without hesitation, Vampa jumps down and manually opens the gate, allowing the group to flee. But in doing so, he's captured by Cadmus's forces. With Vampa lost, the group flees into the wild, now hunted by Cadmus's newest creation, a towering spider-like war machine. Eva warns the others that she saw an entire warehouse filled with these monstrosities. Cadmus isn't building a few weapons. He's assembling an army. The group fights back, narrowly escaping each assault, but their ship takes heavy damage and eventually runs out of fuel, crashing into the desolate wasteland. They seek refuge wherever they can. Eventually, they hide inside a mysterious walking tree, only to be ambushed by its alien inhabitants. Eva 8 prepares to strike, but Eva calms her and speaks to the aliens. Her diplomacy works. The aliens point them toward Fauna, just a day's journey away. But there's a catch. They must pass through a region called the Black Wind, the hunting ground of a terrifying beast named Wasu. And they must stay far from the skeletal remains scattered through the land, the bones. They journey on, storms raging around them. Desperate for cover, they follow a trail of bones, but Eva recalls the warning too late. Dwasu, massive and monstrous, rises from the shadows to attack. The group runs and hides in a cave. Reinder's condition worsens. Eva wants to try communicating with the beast telepathically, but Eva 8 forbids it. She lost her sister to Dwasu and refuses to lose Eva too. Later that night, Reinder, barely conscious, wanders toward Dwasu, ready to sacrifice himself.
Eva follows and connects with the beast. She begs it to spare Reinder, promising they mean no harm. At first, the creature seems to listen. Eva senses it is guarding unborn offspring. But the peace doesn't last. Dwasu lashes out to kill Eva. Eva 8 arrives just in time, driving a spear into the beast's belly and killing it. It wasn't protecting its babies, she says bitterly. It was going to feed you to them. Eventually, the group reaches Fauna, home of the Sarawanse, Reinder's people. Eva pleads for help, but the guards refuse. Reinder is exiled, a traitor. The only cure for his condition lies inside the city, and they won't let him in. Eva is determined. While Eva 8 and Haley search for firewood, Eva sneaks into the city disguised as a Sarawanse. She finds the medicine, but is caught as she tries to leave. The village elder, Amtiquis, demands an explanation. Eva confesses she stole the medicine to save Reindeer. Then comes a shocking reveal. Antiquus is Reindeer's father. Cold and distant, he explains Reindeer's crime. Long ago, during a devastating windstorm, Reindeer abandoned his people when they needed him most. As their only pathfinder, he was supposed to lead them to safety, but he vanished. Reindeer, now awake, finally tells his side of the story. He didn't run from duty, he ran from grief. The storm took his wife and child. Shattered, he fled. Antiquus declares a trial of truth. The cow, a mystical bird of revelation, will decide Reindeer's fate. Eva and a Sarawanse named Azora ride a flying whale into the clouds to summon it. Azora tells Eva that the cow appears only when one seeks truth with a pure heart. Sure enough, the cow comes. Back in Fauna, the trial begins. The cow enters Antiquus, forcing him to speak the truth of his pain and betrayal. Then it enters Reindeer, who shares his sorrow and guilt. Finally, Eva speaks from the heart. She tells the Sarawanse that Reindeer has been like a father to her, and now more than ever, she needs him. Antiquus softens. He forgives his son. The next morning, the village celebrates with music, dance, and petals floating in the air. But the joy is short-lived. Cadmus's machines descend on Fauna. Eva and the Sarawanse scramble to evacuate. Eva 8 races back to help. To save Fauna, Eva draws the machines away. A fierce battle follows, and soon Eva is surrounded. Cadmus arrives in a massive ship and captures both Eva and 8. He plans to use Eva's mind to find the heart of the energy source. On board, Eva hears a voice calling to her. She escapes and follows it through a strange forest, eventually reaching the source itself. To her surprise, it looks like her robot mother. The source begins healing Eva with beams of energy. She slips into an illusion, meeting a woman she believes is her real mom, only to discover it's the heart itself. In the meantime, Eva 8 finds her lying unconscious and panics. Unsure what to do, she tries to pull Eva away. When that fails, she breaks the heart free from its place. The source begins to collapse, and Eva starts to disintegrate. The energy consumes her completely, and she dies in 8's arms. Grief-stricken, Eva 8 tries to destroy the source entirely, but Cadmus arrives in time to stop her. He takes the heart and 8 with him. The theft of the source sends a shock wave across the land, destroying all remaining greenery. The planet begins to die. And that's how Wanless Season 2 ends. With the world fading into ruin, Eva gone, and the fate of everything hanging in the balance.